Hey folks, welcome back. Hope you're doing well out there. So today's video is just going to be kind of short and sweet and perhaps a little bit shocking and controversial. So what I'm about to say here is perhaps a little controversial if you are a therapist, perhaps watching this video, either trying to learn about psychedelic therapy and interested about learning about it, or you are someone already practicing psychedelic therapy, or if you're a bit of a psychedelic therapy student and nerd, maybe you've gone down all the rabbit holes and you're researching it, you have a feeling like you have a good handle on what it is, or you have some preconceptions about psychedelic therapy and you're pretty sure that this is a wildly different new way of doing therapy. What I'm about to say here might shock you a little bit. So here's my shocking, controversial statement. At its heart, there's no difference between psychedelic therapy and sober therapy if you understand the fundamentals of what's happening in therapy. So if you haven't seen my recent video, I just put out a video recently about how relating is at the core of psychedelic therapy and at the core of change and transformation more broadly. In this video, I'm parroting or piggybacking off that idea. So here's what I want you to get. When we understand the principles of the nervous system and the role of relating and specifically the role of co-regulation and self-regulation and nervous system regulation overall as the fundamental skill in therapy, right? So it doesn't matter what kind of modality or approach to therapy you're doing, even in something abstract like hypnotherapy, which I'm trained in, there is a relational component there. And through that relational component, we are using that to modulate the person's state and co-regulate the person, essentially. It's kind of a roundabout, more abstract way of co-regulating, but it's still a form of co-regulation, right? All therapy is built around relating as the fundamental thing we're up to. And this is why the Therapeutic Alliance, and studies show this, that the Therapeutic Alliance is the number one predictor of success in therapy, not the modality, not the XYZ, right? Not even the quality of the character of the client or the personality types or none of that. What really, ensures good therapeutic outcomes is the quality of connection and trust, the quality of relationship between the client and the therapist, right? The amount of trust there, the amount of openness there, the flow of understanding, the ability to work together as a team, these things make all the difference, right? So fundamentally, therapy is about relating, right? So this means, getting relating right really matters, like I said in the other video. So this is true even on psychedelics, right? These same dynamics of nervous system dysregulation or co-regulation, helping a person work through waves of overwhelm and imbalance and fear and anxiety and distress and neediness or contraction or whatever happens when a person gets dysregulated, that stuff comes up in psychedelic therapy all the same. And that really is the work, is helping the person to, feel regulated and work through these layers and these kind of knots in the psyche that emerge kind of organically and spontaneously once the medicine is present, right? This is really what the work is. And that's the same, honestly, in a sober piece of work with someone. If you're doing good therapeutic work, that's the same thing. So they get triggered, something comes up, there's an organic moment. In hypnosis, we would call this an emergent trance that starts to bubble up for the person, and we attune to that. We go with that instead of ignoring that. We follow that thread, and as things start to impact themselves, we help that person regulate and feel safe and attuned and connected and start to repair that relationship with their own unconscious mind, right? This is how good therapy is done. This is how good hypnosis is done. This is how good coaching is done, honestly. And this is also how good psychedelic therapy is done. So fundamentally, the core mechanism is the same across the board. But you might be like, well, yeah, Dave, sure, okay. At a certain dose, that kind of breaks down. And I would agree, kind of, right? So I would say that optimally for like therapeutic purposes with psychedelics, there's kind of a low to mid dose range that's more optimal, because the person kind of has the fluidity of the openness of the self, but also has the coherence to be able to communicate and talk and relate still. And that may come in handy for actually doing this kind of relational, co-regulational work together on whatever comes up, right? Above a certain point of dosage with the psychedelic, obviously the cognitive verbal faculties kind of go offline or get so scrambled. The cognitive mind gets so scrambled that doing any kind of work like that is not really meaningful or effective. But even then, right? Like if you look at like the kind of trip sitting model of things, or like the Zendo, talking people through, not down when they're super high and they're spooked and they're overwhelmed, the principles of good trip sitting apply the same thing, which is helping a person regulate through, being with that person in their experience, not judging it, not trying to control it or shape it, but helping them stay connected with themselves and helping them feel connected through whatever happens, right? So, and then at a certain point, obviously, if we have like a full transcendence of self because we've taken a very large dose, or our nervous system just kind of goes there and we have a non-dual experience, that's kind of a whole other category of psychedelic experience that requires a different way of engaging. But even then, knowing you have someone watching over you to make sure you're safe while you're kind of opening up and letting go of your ego altogether, again, still highly valuable. And essentially, we have the same thread through all of this work, from sober to ego transcendence, which is this relational thread. And that's really the same, right? So I would offer to you, again, this idea, a little controversial perhaps, because there's so much of this conception in the psychedelic therapy world that, oh, it's a whole different context with altered states of consciousness, and therefore the way you have to approach the work is different. You have to do different things. And it is true that there are a lot of therapeutic approaches that don't really fit into a psychedelic context and just would be awkward or clunky or uncomfortable or inappropriate, right? But if we understand what therapy really is at its heart, which is skillful relating as one human being to another, and helping that human being that needs support feel supported and connected and safe enough to create the right conditions for them to experience an organic healing and change and transformation, or put another way, resourcing the human being that needs the help, or helping them to realize and access resources inside of themselves, and using relationship as one of these primary resources, it's really the same thing. So that's my message to you today. I suspect I might see some comments down below that you might disagree or might not like this or what have you, but I just thought I would share kind of one of these insights that I've had over the last year. And this is why, I'm making this course all about relating and how to leverage safe, secure relating, right relating, as a primary intervention, a primary tool for healing and change. It's not the only tool, it's not the only approach, but in my opinion, it's the tool to have first. It's the one we need there as the foundation. So anyways, that's it for this video. I'm going to wrap it for here. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is this jarringly controversial and upsetting to you? Do you have a bunch of science that says otherwise? Or, does this kind of resonate for you? And you're like, huh, interesting thought. I'd love to know what you think. All right. Much love to you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.